What's going on, guys? So today what we're going to be doing, or in this video, as you can tell from the title, is we're going to finish off the underside of this cab. Since I saw you last, I did get the cab supports welded in. I filmed it, but it was just a lot of time lapse. It would have been a very, very short video, and honestly the footage really wasn't that interesting. And I mean that in the sense of it was, kind of just one or two camera angles and kind of the same thing over and over again. So those are in, those are done. But really what we need to do to finish this off, we got to separate this into 4 sessions, and it has to be somewhat timely in regards to how this stuff all has to dry. So step 1 is going to be prep. So it's going to be masking and degreasing, and then right before we spray, we'll do a pre-prep spray as well. So that's session. We got to do it basically in 4 sessions because that's what I have time for. So that's session 1. Session 2 is going to be rust preventative. Session 3 is going to be seam sealer to finish off whatever the rust preventative doesn't get to. And then 4th is going to be the top coat. So what we're going to use is a combination of things. For the first one, we're going to mask, obviously, which is easy enough. And then we're going to use degreaser, which I've got this made up, but I've made it up out of this stuff. It's pretty heavy duty. I make it in the strong mix that they give you in terms of proportions. So we'll do that first. We'll get it all masked. What we're going to use for that is just some plastic, some masking film, and some masking tape, which I have up at the house. For rust preventative, we're going to use the same thing we did on the frame, and that's going to be Eastwood's Rust Encapsulator Platinum. We're going to spray this on, and I'll show you the gun settings, all of that. And then seam sealer, where's that? Seam sealer's over here. What we're going to use is, again, Eastwood brushable seam sealer. So we'll get that on. We're also going to use some black silicone in a couple areas where it didn't really fit up absolutely perfect. And then for top coat, we're going to use Raptor liner, and that all comes with the gun and everything. So the gun's a little bit different for this. You got that. You mix the hardener in with the bottles and shake that, and that screws right onto the gun, and off it goes. So by the end of the weekend, it's Thursday today, we'll have the whole cab underside finished off. The way it works with timing, it's Thursday today. I'm only out here for a couple hours, so I'm masking and taping and all of that. We're going to get that done today. Tomorrow evening when I get home from work, which is Friday, I'm going to spray the rust encapsulator. You have 4 hours for that to cure before you can really touch it. By the time I get home and spray, 4 hours, it's gonna be too late. So I'll do Saturday morning then, come in and seam seal, and then after the seam sealer is dry, which only takes about 30 minutes before top coat, we'll do all our silicone also, and then we'll hit it with the top coat. So by Saturday evening, we should have this all done, if everything goes to plan and I'm able to get everything done on time. Either way, it's gonna be done by the weekend. So let's get going. I'm probably gonna end up using 2 whole rolls of this. we pretty much got our booth set up. I'm going to put some plastic down on the floor before we actually spray. I don't want to do it right now because I don't want any dust to settle on it. I'm going to open up that back garage door, and then I'm going to open up this one just on the bottom with fans blowing out and get a cross little cross breeze here, and that should cut down on all of my overspray. So there is that. We're ready to spray, and we're going to do that tomorrow. So I'll see you in 3, 2, 1. And just like that, we're back next day. So we are going to get this sprayed, getting the booth set up. I've got that door open over there just a little bit, and I've got these fans all blowing out. They're not on, but blowing, just because we've got good airflow coming through here, so that's a good sign. What we're going to do next is we're going to get our gun set up. So I figured I would just go over kind of the basics of how I set mine up. Doesn't necessarily mean it's picture perfect right, but this is how I learned how to do it. So let's go over that next. Okay, so this is my gun. It is not anything fancy. It's just a Husky, so Home Depot brand HVLP gun. To set it up before we get anything started, really, you've got your air, your fluid, and your fan. So air, I run this wide open. It's completely backed out, so all the air can go through the gun. For the fan, I also have this wide open for now, but what I'm going to do is just a half turn, and that's just going to kind of bring it, fine tune it a bit, and then I'll fine tune it once I get paint in there. And then we want to get our fluid wide open. The way that you do that, pull your trigger. This is all the way backed out. If I pull it anymore, it's going to pop out, which is fine if it does, but pull the trigger all the way. Then what you're going to do is just start tightening this down. And once I get where I feel resistance on the trigger, as well as I'm starting to get where this doesn't want to turn, that is all the way full out. So from there I can fine tune it, but I know that to get the exact spray or the right amount of fluid that I want, I will be turning in from there if it's too wet, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to start at 30 psi, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are going to get this mixed up. So we're going to be using, like I said, the Eastwood Rust Encapsulator Platinum, and we are going to reduce this down or thin it, and it recommends that you use xylene. I just got this from Home Depot, and you can reduce it by 20%. So we're going to start, I don't know exactly how much this is going to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up 16 ounces and we'll go from there. So for that math, that'll be about 13 ounces of this, and then up to 16 ounces with that. So 3 ounces of that. We'll get that stirred up, get in the gun, and we're going to get spraying. Alright, it's been about an hour and a half since I sprayed it, and it's looking really good. So really good, consistent, clean coverage. There's a tiny texture to it. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. There's a tiny texture to it. But it doesn't matter, we're spraying bed liner on it anyway, so no big deal there. So the way that this works is your timing for this, if you're going to top coat it, which we are. It says UV stable, so you don't have to. But it's the other side. Anyway, so the timing for this is you got to let it dry for about 4 hours. After 4 hours, you can apply top coat, but your top coat also has to be applied before 48 hours. If you go over that 48 hours, they recommend that you wait 7 days. If you do wait that 7 days, then you just sand it down with 320 before you spray anything on top of that. So that's why kind of making sure that your planning and your timing is appropriate, which is why I waited till the end of the week. And tomorrow morning, what we're gonna do is seam seal a couple areas. There's a couple areas that I'm gonna put some silicone and seam seal over the top of that. And then what we'll do is we'll spray the Raptor liner over the top of that in the afternoon. So once again, we'll do this again, but I'll see you guys in the morning. Next morning, dried up really nice. So what we're gonna do is some seam sealer and get this thing ready for bed liner. All right, I spared you on the seam sealer. This turned out really nice. You just brush it on. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, at least because it's under the cab here. If it was a firewall or something that would be visible, you'd want to probably clean that up a little bit, but under here, not too much of a big deal. Also use a little bit of a silicone seam sealer on areas where it's not completely flush against the panel. So a couple areas there where we have some of that. But what we're gonna do next is mix everything up and get this sprayed. All right, so for mixing this, mix one at a time of these. And the way, oh, a freaking mess here. The way that you're gonna mix that is with the hardener, you're going to use 250 milliliters, so a quarter liter. So we're gonna fill it to there, pour it in here, shake it for 2 minutes, and then we'll put it on the gun, and then we are gonna spray this at, it says 40 to 60 PSI. So if I think it makes sense, we'll just shoot it right at 50. All right, so that was literally one of these, and I did the entire underside here. And when we look, really good, clean, even coverage throughout. That light makes it look a little weird, but really, really consistent coverage throughout. So that's gonna be perfect. I'm gonna let that start drying. I'm gonna start pulling off some masking here, and we'll see what it looks like here in just a second. right, well there you have it. Incredible coverage from that. Like I said, that was just one of those liters. And with the rust encapsulator that was with the xylene, that was only 10 ounces of fluid to do the entire thing. So it goes really, really fast. Just got to take your time and make sure that you have your timing right for when everything is applied. But that looks amazing. I'm really happy with that. I have so much of it left. I may be doing, I was just going to paint all of this, but I may use the bed liner for all of that too. So I don't know, we'll see. But this is going to take 7 days for it to fully cure and set. So I'm just going to leave it alone for the week. And next weekend, holiday weekend, I'm going to get this thing back upright and keep moving along. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later.